Hi, Phanessa here. In this video, I am going to demonstrate how to knit the Bella Slouch. So this tutorial is not going to include the instructions for the pom-pom, but I do have links for tutorials on both of these. This pattern comes in 5 different sizes from baby through a large adult. In this tutorial though, I'm going to be knitting the adult size. For more information on the written pattern, please see the links in the description box. So for this tutorial, I am using Lion Brand's Wool Ease Thick and Quick, and this one is Sea Glass. So this one is 87 yards. I think it's 106 for the solid colors. I used one skein for the adult. If you're making a giant pom-pom like I am with the yarn, you may need another ball of this. It's a pretty big pom. So you'll need 2 16-inch circular needles. One is US 13 9 millimeters and a US 15 10 millimeters. This one is interchangeable. You can use fixed needles if you'd like. If you prefer, you can also use double pointed needles. I am not closing the top with double pointed needles. I'm going to close the top with my 16-inch circular needle. So you'll need a pair of scissors, tapestry needle, and a tape measure. And you're going to need a stitch marker. So this is one of my DIY stitch markers. I will leave a link for the tutorial for this as well. All right, let's get started then. So I'm starting with the smaller needles. This is the US 13 9 millimeters. So I'm going to cast on 42 stitches, and I'm using the long tail cast on method. You can use whatever method you'd like. Once you have your stitches casted on, you're going to cast on 1 additional stitch. I like to join this way. It's more of a seamless join. So before you join, you want to make sure that your stitches are not twisted. You don't want it twisted like this when you join. Okay, you want to make sure that everything is on the same side. So I'm going to grab this stitch here. I'm going to insert my needle as if to knit. I'm going to pull that over here, and then I'm going to grab the first stitch on this side and pass it over this one that we just slipped. Okay, so I'm going to pass it over, and then I'm going to just drop it. So that's the additional stitch. It's been dropped. You're back to your required number of stitches. Okay, so grab your stitch marker and place it on your needles. So the stitch marker marks the beginning and end of your round. We're going to now work a 1x1 rib for the brim. So I'm going to knit the knit stitches through the back loop. It gives it this pretty twisted knit stitch here. So the first stitch, I'm going to knit through the back loop. So here's your front loop, and then this is your back loop here. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to insert it through the back loop this way. Normally you would knit through the front loop like that. So I'm going through the back loop, and I'm going to knit that stitch. For the next stitch, I'm going to purl and repeat. So now I'm going to knit the next stitch through the back loop, and I'm going to purl the next stitch. Okay, so you just repeat that all the way around. Knit through back loop, purl, knit through back loop and purl. Okay, so you go all the way around to the last stitch, which should be a purl stitch, and then you want to repeat this round until you're happy with the size of the brim. So this one is 7 rounds and it's about 2 inches. So now I am done with the brim. Okay, so I've switched out to my US 15. This is 15 millimeters. So you want to switch out to the larger needle to work the body. So I'm making an adult size, and the stitch pattern is in multiples of 8. So this is 42 stitches. I need to increase by 6 stitches to get 48 stitches. And 42 divided by 6 is 7. So I want to increase every 7th stitch. So I'm going to knit 6 and then knit front and back. I'm done working through the back loops for the knit stitch. I'm just going to work a regular knit stitch now. So I'm going to knit 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going to work a KFB. So I'm going to knit through the front loop and the back loops so that I increase by 1 stitch. So knit through the front loop, and then without sliding this off, you're going to swing back here and insert your needle through the back loop and knit that loop as well. And then you can slide it out. So we've created 1 additional stitch just from this stitch here. So I'm going to repeat knit 6, KFB. Okay, so I've knitted 6 stitches. I'm going to knit through the front loop, come back to the back loop and knit through the back loop as well, and then slide off my stitch. So I'm going to repeat that all the way around. Okay, I'm at the end. I'm going to move my marker. Okay, so now I'm going to slip 3 with my yarn in the front and then knit 1. So that's going to be the repeat all the way around. So I'm going to slip 3, and I want to make sure that my yarn is in the front, and we're just going to slip purlwise, meaning as if to purl. There's 1, 2, and 3. You want to make sure that your working yarn is in the front. Okay, and then you're going to move your working yarn to the back and knit the next stitch. You want to make sure this isn't tight, so this should be loose enough when you put it on and stretch it, it won't pucker. So if you knit traditional style, you have your yarn in the front like this and yarn in the back. If you're a continental knitter, it looks different, so that's why I want to show you 2 different ways. Because the yarn here in continental is visible, whereas if you were knitting traditional, it's over here where you can't really see what's going on. Okay, yarn in the front and slip 3, 1, 2, 3. Yarn in the back and knit 1. You want to make sure that this is loose across these 3 stitches. Okay, so just repeat that all the way around. You want to slip 3 with yarn in the front. 1, 2, 3. Yarn in the back, knit 1. Again, you want to make sure that the working yarn here in front of these 3 stitches are loose. Slip 3, 1, 2, 3. Again, make sure your working yarn is in the front, and knit 1. Okay, so just repeat that all the way around. Slip 3 with your yarn in the front, and then knit 1. Slip 3 with your yarn in the front, and knit 1. I'm at my last repeat here. I'm going to slip 3 with yarn in the front, and then knit my last stitch. Move my marker. So round 2 is just going to be the exact same thing. You're going to slip 3 with yarn in the front and then knit 1. Okay, so just repeat what you did on the last round. Slip 3, knit 1. Slip 3 and knit 1. Okay, I'm at the last set of repeat. Slip 3 and knit the last stitch. Move my marker. For round 3, we're going to start with 1 knit, and then you're going to knit under the loose strands here. So there's 3 stitches here where you slipped. The center one is the one where you're going to knit under the loose strands. So I've knit 1, and then I'm going to take my needle and go under these 2 strands here, and then I'm going to knit the next stitch, and then you want to pull that back under. Okay, so it pulls it up like that, and then you're going to knit 3, 1, 2, 3, and now we're back in the center stitch of the 3 that we slipped. We're going to take our needle and go under the loose strands and then knit the next stitch. Okay, that comes back under and back up. Okay, 1, 2, 3, under the 2 loose strands and knit the next stitch. Knit 3, under the loose strands and knit. So when you knit, you can just bring it right back before you slip it off. It's up to you how you want to do that, but the idea is you want to knit the next stitch with these 2 loose strands pulled up. Okay, so I'm going to knit 3, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to knit the next stitch under the loose strands. So here's the 2 loose strands, and then I'm going to knit the next stitch. So you're going to repeat that, knit 3 and knit under the loose strand. Okay, so you'll end with 2 stitches at the end. You just knit those 2 stitches. Okay, I'm going to knit 3 and knit 1 under loose strands. So I'm at the end of my round. I have these 2 stitches left. I'm going to knit 2. Move my marker. Round 4, I'm just going to knit all stitches. Okay, I'm at the end. Slip my marker. So you're going to knit 2, 1, 2, and now we're going to slip the next 3 stitches with our yarn in the front. Okay, just like we did a couple of rounds back. Slip 3 with your yarn in the front and then knit 1. So you repeat, slip 3 with yarn in the front, knit 1. You're going to repeat that all the way around. You're going to repeat that until you have 2 stitches left. Slip 3, knit 1, slip 3, knit 1. Again, you want to make sure that the working yarn you placed in the front is loose. You just don't want it tight when you put it on your head and the fabric stretches. Okay, so I have 2 stitches left. So what I really want is a strand going across all 3 of these stitches. So I'm going to place my yarn in the front. I'm going to slip my last 2 stitches. And then for the first stitch of round 6, I'm going to slip with my yarn in the front. So now I have the working yarn in front of these 3 stitches here. Okay, now I'm going to follow this pattern as I work round 6. So this is a knit stitch. I'm going to knit this stitch and I'm going to slip 3. Knit 1, slip 3 with yarn in the front. Okay, so repeat that all the way around again until the last 2 stitches. Okay, I'm at the last 2 stitches again. I'm going to slip these last 2 stitches with my yarn in the front. I'm going to move my marker. And now for round 7, I'm going to slip the first stitch with my yarn still in the front. Okay, so now I'm going to knit 2, 1, 2, and then this is the center of the 3 where I'm going to knit my next stitch under the loose strands, just like we did before. Okay, so you're going to repeat. You want to knit 3, knit 1 under loose strand. Knit 3, 1, 2, 3, and then knit under loose strand. So you want to repeat this all the way around, and you're going to end with the knit stitch that goes under the loose strands. So here's my last stitch. I'm going to knit this one under the loose strands. Okay, now I'm going to move my marker. So for round 8, we're just going to knit every stitch around. And that is your 8 round repeat. So that is the repeat. You're going to repeat rounds 1 through 8 until you are happy with the height of the beanie. So the height for an adult head is about 8 3/4 of an inch. And since I want a slouch beanie, I'm going to knit until it measures about 11 inches. So that's about 2 inches, 2 1/4 inches higher than the actual fitted size. And you want to measure from the bottom of your brim to under your needles. Okay, so I'm going to repeat Okay, so I am happy with the size. So now I'm going to start decreasing. So round 1 of decrease, we're going to knit 3 and then knit 2 together. So this is going to be a quick decrease. It's just 3 rounds. So that's 3 stitches. Now I'm going to knit these 2 together. So you want to insert through both loops, both stitches, and knit those 2 together. Okay, so repeat, knit 3, 1, 2, 3, and knit 2 together. Knit 3, knit 2 together. Okay, so just repeat that all the way around, and if you have any stitches remaining, just go ahead and knit those stitches. Okay, so now I am on round 2. I'm going to move my marker. Now I'm going to knit 2 and knit 2 together. So in the last round we knit 3 and then we knitted the 2 together. Now we're going to knit 2 and knit 2 together. So 1, 2, knit 2 together. 1, 2, knit 2 together. So repeat that all the way around. Again, if you have any stitches remaining, go ahead and just knit those stitches. Round 3 of decrease is going to be knit 1 and knit 2 together. 1 and knit 2 together. If you want a more gradual decrease, you can add a round of just knit stitches in between each of these decrease rounds, but keep in mind that the decreases are not in pattern. They're all just stockinette. So this pattern is meant to have a quick decrease and a giant pom-pom on it. Okay, so if you're making a smaller size, this should be enough for you to close up the crown. But if you're making a larger size, you may want to work one more round. Just repeat round 3 with knit 1 and knit 2 together. So knit 1, knit 2 together. If your stitches are getting tight, you can switch to double pointed needles. I have a basic knit pattern that will show you how to do that. I like to use a modified magic loop, so leaving 1, 2, or 3 stitches, pull the cord out from back here, so you're basically sliding the needle so that you can start working the next few stitches. You can do the same on this side if it gets too tight. Right now it's still fine. And then I'm going to continue. So right here it's getting a bit tight. I'm going to just leave 1 stitch on my right hand needle. I'm just going to leave 1 stitch here, and then on this side I'm going to grab about 4 stitches So now you have space to knit the next few stitches. And I'm almost at the end, so I have 4 stitches left. Just going to slide those 4 there and slide 1 on this side, and I'm going to finish the round with the last 4 stitches. Again, if you have any remaining stitches, just go ahead and knit those. So see here, I knit 2 together and I only have 2 more stitches left. I won't have enough for a decrease. I'm just going to knit the last 2. Okay, so this is what I mean by it is not in pattern. So the textured pattern stops right there where I work 4 rounds of decreases. So now you want to close up the top. Just cut a long enough tail so that you can weave it through. Grab your tapestry needle. And then you want to pull these stitches off of your needle with the tapestry needle. So as if to knit, pull off, slip it into the stitch as if to knit, slip off. So you continue sliding off these stitches until all of the stitches are off the needle. Okay, this is my last stitch. I'm going to pull that tight. Okay, so you just want to tug on it until it's tight, and it'll close up the ring or the circle on top of the crown. And then what I'm going to do is insert my needle right into the center. Oops, into the wrong side, so the inside. And then I'm going to secure that on the inside. I am going to put a giant pom-pom here, so I'm going to leave this tail when I'm done securing it so that I can use it on my pom-pom. So these stitches that are left here, these were the stitches that were on the needle. I'm just going to go around those stitches just to kind of tighten and close the center. Okay, so now I'm going to secure it, inserting your needle in, wrap your yarn around the needle and pull through, and that knots your yarn right there. So I'm going to leave this because I'm going to use that with my pom-pom. If you don't want a pom-pom, you are done. Okay, don't forget to weave in the tail over here on the brim as well. I'll leave a link for the pom-pom tutorial. I'm not going to do that on this tutorial, but you can add a giant pom-pom, and I have a link for a fur pom-pom as well. So I'll leave those in the corner and you can check those out. Okay, so that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button so that you'll be notified every time I post a new video. I'll see you next time.